I do want to ask this anime guy some questions. I mean, Lou, you pretty much answered the questions that I had like to start, but I'm curious to see what like a anime guy, what he acts like, what he carries himself like. Because I was misinformed about anime people. I thought anime people were nerds.
Well, we're gonna find out because we do have a anime expert on with us today. Tim Hoffman, better known as ForneverWorld on YouTube, where he has more than 600,000 subscribers for his videos covering everything to do with anime and manga. So Tim is joining us now.
Fantastic.
Tim,
what's up, Tim?
Hey, Tim's originally from New York. You live in Columbus, Ohio now, right?
Yes, sir.
Midwest.
All right.
What up, Tim?
What's going on, everybody? How your night going?
We doing good,
up,
my
Welcome
good
to the
man.
show.
Thank you for joining us.
No, I appreciate. Honestly, it's an honor and a privilege to even be talking to you, gentlemen, tonight.
Oh man, the pleasure is all ours, man. I'll speak for Lupe. He ain't talking right now. He's soaking it all in. But he does this sometimes, man. You know, that's what, like, you ever seen like just like a hyena in the forest? He just be waiting so he can just come take the food. That's how he is. You know what I mean?
It's all good. It's all
Don't
good.
don't take his quietness for weakness, bro.
I got you.
He used to catch arrows when he was 4. He used to catch arrows.
Welcome to the show, Tim.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure having you. For sure.
Hey Tim.
Yes.
So while Lupe is acting weird, what can you tell me about anime?
Oh, well.
Tell Lupe too. See if you can snap him out of it. Man, you know what I would be trying to do when back in the day, Lou? I'd be trying to get you to drink, man. Back when I was drinking, I would probably just bug you until you take a shot. Come on, man, take a shot. Come on.
I would have been the same way.
You drink?
You got the. I'm not. See the. Good, Tim. I was just gonna say like I like anime, but I'm not like deep into anime, so I'm not like an expert. I like the things that I like, and then I know I have a general history of it, a general understanding, but I'm like deep. So Royce had, and I'm not really interested to be deep either, because there's some animes that I just don't really like that. Yeah. You know, like I could watch a few episodes, but I'm not. You know, I can't watch 70 episodes. Like, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah, I feel you.
So, man, I enjoy a good anime. I enjoy a good manga. I got a few manga books that I actually keep around that are entertaining, and I'll dip into some anime from time to time. But Royce is kind of the Royce didn't know that he was actually heavy into anime, and that kind of came out on the last episode. So, brought you in here to kind of go even deeper into the anime hole. I got a lot of fans who love anime and talk about it all the time. I reference it in some of my music, so it's interesting to have you here to see answer some of Royce the 5'9's questions.
Cause now I'm to the point where I'm wondering if I can compare it to like being a sneakerhead, like in the shoe world. Can I, Lou? Is it like that?
I mean, we got an expert here now. Like, I don't know.
Right here.
I thought you was a sneakerhead.
Let's go, Tim.
So what do you think, bro? Like, is it? Do you know anything about like the shoe world, the sneaker world?
Yeah, when I was much younger, I used to collect Jordans. I would be in the snow going to get the latest J's. So yeah, I used to be a little bit of a sneakerhead myself.
Is it similar?
It can be. I mean, because, you know, I made this more like of a career for myself the last decade, so I'm like far down the rabbit hole with this now, to the point where like, just looking back at me, it's become like a part of, my lifestyle, I guess you could say, because, you know, it's not only my profession, my career, but it's also something I enjoy, so it's like a win-win, and, yeah, it can be just like a sneakerhead, but you can also be deep down the rabbit hole as well, even more so, I guess you could say.
So it's like a passion.
Yeah.
Well, me and Luke can definitely relate to that. Tell us more about it. Are you first of all, are you married?
No. I was engaged for 5 years. Last January, my fiance passed away. But she was pretty much into it. Not as much as me, but she was into it with me as well. We used to go everywhere because I for like the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years, I would go to LA for the Anime Expo and to do business with because I partnered with a lot of the major distributors in North America. So I partnered with Funimation, Crunchyroll, Viz Media. I've done some type of business with all of them at some given point. So she used to come with me to all those events and do business, but also just have a great time because the community, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's like a bad side to every community, but for the most part, it's pretty welcoming, especially in the real, like, you separate from like the internet bullshit that, in any community you find the internet bullshit of people being dumbasses, but in the real, the community is pretty welcoming and it's a really dope experience.
Well, my blessings and well wishes goes out to your fiance, man. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that. My question for you is how does one have a, like you said, a career, and that kind of piqued my ears, right? Like a professional career. Do you animate, or like do you like explain that, how you made a career out of it, going from like being a fan of it to actually having a professional aspect to it?
Well, I guess it's a few different avenues. Like my main shtick for like, again, the last 10 years has been doing YouTube, reviewing like, the latest series coming out. Also a big one is like talking about the news, like, oh, this series is popping, or this drama went down with this animator or something like that. Then other avenues is like doing, just kind of like advertisements for different companies, working with different companies. And one of the latest developments that I'm really excited about is I partnered with Noir Caesar, Black-owned manga publishing company, and we're working on my first manga. So I'm really, really excited and passionate about that.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's a manga?
It's a Japanese comic book.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Can you explain to Royce the difference between manga and anime?
It's basically just comics and cartoons, but just Japanese way of saying it. And I guess there's a certain aesthetic to it that like you could kind of off the bat usually tell, like, the big anime eyes is usually a giveaway. And then in like the animated version, it's usually like they have colorful hairs to like distinguish the different characters. So like, the main character will have, let's just say, blue hair, and then the female will have yellow or blonde hair, things like that.
Do you draw any of this?
No. I'm more so on the writing side. That's really like, storytelling is one of my biggest passions.
That's cool, man.
So how is the relationship between like the writer and like you got this great story, but anime and manga is like it's 90% visual, right? Like that's a big part of it, right? Not to belittle the story, but just saying in terms of like the production side, right? Like it's mostly putting characters and stuff like that into the world. How did you come about going from like, I got this story, I need somebody to draw it, basically? Like was that difficult? Did you have to like build up a certain like rapport with folks, and they had to build up like certain level of respect? Like, can you explain that process, how you found some people to draw your ideas?
Well, it kind of felt like fate, honestly, because I guess to get a little just deep into what my process was about late 2018, early 2019, I just started having like this spiritual awakening, I guess you could say, getting woke and whatnot, and really just looking into my history and, where I come from, and understanding a lot of things about the world, listening to a lot of our great leaders like Brother Polite, Lord Jamar, Royce, a lot of people that just started really guiding me to where I want to be in life. And then it was fate where Johnny O'Brien, the owner of Noir Caesar, he had reached out to me, and I seen that he was on the same page, same message. One of the things that really stuck out to me immediately when I went to his profile, I saw he had like a shirt that said, the black woman, the God's mother, something along the lines of that. It was like Mother Nature at its finest, something like that. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it, because he had reached out to me if I wanted to work with them at any capacity. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, we align. I love it. Let's do it. And we kind of started from there. I had the idea already in my mind for some time now, because I love hip hop and music. And I was like, well, I have this story about this kind of upcoming MC, but then these forces are trying to take this upcoming MC down, and it's like a self-realization for the character, also loving her natural self. And why don't we put this into a story, a manga? And then we got the creatives, we got a couple of different writers to work with me to put it together, and then we sent it off to the artist, and then they put together the visuals, and we're slowly but surely working on getting the first volume done.
It's cool.
Congratulations, man. Sounds dope.
When you were telling,
I feel like there's a connection between hip hop and manga. Is it the storytelling part of it, or why do you think there's some? I feel like there's some connection there.
I think there's various different reasons. I think in general, like, because of the source of it coming from Japan, one of the things I've seen a lot of people, especially people of color, we look at it as almost like an escape away from the structure of society, thinking of Japan. So we see these stories of this faraway place where none of the bullshit that we go through is like seemingly from what we see from these stories. So it's kind of almost escapism, and you could, put that and equate it to several different ways of looking at it, different people, like whether somebody deals with depression, whatever the case may be. But I think for us in particular, we look at it as almost like it feels like an escape to freedom, essentially, with looking at anime and manga. It just feels like a different world away from what we've been accustomed to knowing, being here, especially in the United States.
I feel like when you were telling us about the difference in the ways that you curate, and you were like you not like on the internet like these dumbasses. I felt like you were triggered by something. Tell me about that.
I feel like we're in therapy now. Well, I guess because like I've dealt with a lot, like, going back to when I started doing this whole thing of just talking about it just as passion. I didn't think that I could make a cent off of it. It was just like, I see some people are doing unboxings of anime, talking about their passion and whatnot. This is dope. So when I started it, there wasn't many people doing it, and it was just kind of like, oh, look at this weirdo, what is he doing, and stuff like that. And then throughout time, as I kept getting more popular, and before, because now it's a little bit more acceptable to the mainstream, so to speak. Like now, like somebody could, I don't know, have a Dragon Ball Z jacket and nobody's really going to say anything. If anything, you're going to get compliments. But, throughout my time on here, now I still, anybody, when you hear something in some form or another, it's going to make you feel a certain way. So now if I get criticism, I know how to handle it. But especially back then, early on, like the first 4 or 5 years of doing this, of constant just criticism. And it's like, I'm literally just talking about what I love, what I'm passionate about, what the hell is the problem. And, just the constant hate and negativity. And then, you have that, and you have where even now it's like, there's I guess a uglier side to the anime and manga community that isn't really addressed as much as I wish it should be. I wish it would be, and it definitely should be.
Bullying,
bullying in several different regards. There is a lot of racism, and that's something that I think one of the big things, and again, this is why I love working with Noir, is that we're basically getting out from under the BS of feeling like we have to, I can't think of the right words, but it's conform to a certain social construct. Exactly, nail on the head. And just being united. Like, I just saw the other day you uploaded the video on Code about the cookout and stuff like that, and I just love it. Every time there's any type of unity, I'm all for it, because together we're very, very strong. And I think that's, I don't know, it's just amazing to see. I think that's one of the best things that even the last few years, despite all the animosity that was created from, like, the stuff with Donald Trump and everything, it brought us all together. It made us realize, we may have different issues. You're from a different hood, all of that stuff. That's cool. I get it. But we have bigger fish to fry. There's bigger entities out there. Why don't we just be together? And
well, some of us.
Yeah,
some of us, but what I like about it is it kind of forced a lot of people to draw their line in the sand.
Yes,
and that's necessary too.
Yes.
Just to kind of like know where everybody stands. What are the points of division in the anime community that you could say? What is it? How is that broken? How is that broken up? Is it like some classes type shit, or is it like certain groups of people that just feel like that they like what? Explain that to me.
Well, there's several different fractions, I guess you could say. There's elitism to a certain degree, where people feel as though because their Japanese cartoons are more superior in terms of narrative, that they're just more superior fans and the rest of them are shit. So there's that type of situation in the community. And then I guess their race, a lot of people like to play the pretend, and I think, again, one of the things that the world has shown us is that there is racism, or showed the people that were in denial. It kind of lifted the veil a little bit, because, you know, there's something that, like with cosplayers, for example, and it's something that really triggers me, is when a beautiful black woman wants to cosplay as anything, it is always a problem. Mainly on Twitter, it is always a problem of people. Just
when you say a problem, what you mean? What you mean? Just people leaving comments?
Yeah, like, oh, you're not white.
Expressing how they don't like it.
Yeah, you're not white. You shouldn't. Well, first of all, these characters aren't white. They're created from Japan. They're technically supposed to be Japanese. So right there, that's just nonsense and stupidity.
Are these Asian people doing this?
No. So, you know, there's a lot of different sections, and again, like I said, if they're in the real, you don't really deal with a lot of these issues. Like, you know, I've been to a lot of conventions. I've had autograph signings, met fans.
Hey, shit. Elitism. You're going to get elitism when you talking about art. Anytime you're talking about art, you're going to always have the people who feel like that their art is better, or if it's different. I noticed this in music. If it's different, like I noticed this with a lot of the younger artists. If somebody doesn't, I may have been guilty of this too. If somebody doesn't do the same kind of music that you do, you don't even really mess with them as a person. Were you like that, Lou? Back in the day?
What? No.
Kind of like, you never were like that? Maybe that was a Detroit thing. Not that I had anything against them. I probably just looked at it like we probably either wouldn't have anything in common, or I never even thought about considering building a relationship with somebody who didn't do the same type of shit as me.
I was like that with hip hop for the longest time. I felt like if you make snap music, like, you know, I'm listening, thinking back to like when I first started really digging into your catalog and stuff. Like, I'm here on Slaughterhouse. You're not going to tell me about no snap music right now. I don't even want to hear those artists there without even giving them a chance. And, you know, maybe there's something else in their catalog I might like. All I'm hearing is the Billboard Hot 100 tracks of, you know, their stuff that's on the radio. Maybe they actually have some substance in there, or in general, maybe that's just not my shtick, but that doesn't mean that I should look down on them or feel like I'm superior as a hip hop fan because I love Slaughterhouse and they're the greatest MCs ever.
Yo, Lou, do you see you bumping the artists like at award shows and shit like that, and they aren't like lyricists, and they know they're not lyricists? They don't.
I mean, not really. I mean, I guess because how can I say this? Like, I listen to everything and I learn from everything. So there's a little
but they don't
bit
know
of
that. They don't know that.
That's
though.
fine. I mean, but I'm not them, so I don't know what they're thinking. But my what I was gonna say was that I'm surprised by the people who turn up, and in those instances, like you said, like at award shows or at the airport or something, or on social media, and they're like super fans, you know, but they're rapping, their styles are completely something different. You would assume that all people, right? I mean, not like really, it's unexpected, but it's not like surprised in a negative way. It's just that, like, I don't know, like you would be surprised if like some old white lady was like your fan, just like, oh yo, I got all your albums.
I ain't mean in a negative way. You know who I had a connection like that with Bun B. Like, Bun B reached out to me like a long time ago, and he was just like somebody who I least suspected to reach out, first of all, and then like how much he knew of not just me but you. Fucking, like, he listened to everything, because it's like he don't rap like he listened to so much stuff. He rap like, this is my style, You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I found that interesting, and then I also find it interesting when I bump into usually younger dudes who do something different from me. It's always a weird vibe. It's either I feel like they look sideways at lyricism, which happens, or I feel like that they just look at it like, man, you know how many times I've been on the road with Slaughterhouse and then I bump into somebody and I hear, oh man, these rapping ass niggas, these more rapping ass niggas. I be thinking to myself like, bro, I'm not taking this as a compliment. I kind of want to punch you in the face right now. These are rapping ass niggas. These are rapping ass niggas right here. What up, rapping ass niggas? You ain't ever get that?
I mean, not that type of response, but I mean, I've had the same.
Jay-Z called you the best rapper ever, dog. You mean to tell me you ain't never get insulted with some compliments by a rapper who can't rap?
No. You know, shout out. I mean, because I walk in so many different worlds. So for me, it surprises people that I'm more of like a street dude. So I run in like a street circle, but it's hard because it's like this. He's a nerd and he wears glasses and he may kick push, but like everybody around me is gangbangers, and so it's hard. So I walk in different spaces with different folks. So on the rap side, I barely engage with rappers. Period. You know. In any real capacity, right? Because it's such a different like association and relationship. Because my expectations in terms of who they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to carry themselves, isn't defined under the arts, right? It's defined from like the streets. So for me, it's a different play. So when I meet certain people, or I go out my way not to engage with certain people, is more so just from and what context that I entered the music industry in, right? And it wasn't with arts, you know, it was with some gangsters. So it was kind of like a different world. So when I would meet people, it wasn't whether they rapped, whether they from, or whether they rapped or couldn't rap or whatever. It was like, how much are you connected to the streets? How much are you like really like standing on something and what's behind that? And so my respect level for people had nothing to do with whether they could rap or not. It was like, what type of person are you? Like, what's your ethics? And when I say the streets, it ain't like you got to be in the mafia or you got to be a Crip. It's just that, do you carry yourself with a certain like honor code or a certain system? Beyond, you could be the wackest dude in the world, you know, or you could be the illest. Because I know a lot of ill dudes who I'm not gonna hang out with, you know. And I know a bunch of like dudes that are whack, that are like I would hang out with all day, you know, and build and talk about everything but music and arts. So for me, it's a little different, but I just take it all as what it is. You know, I get hated on by dudes who rap really good. You know, like it's a certain like tension, like, yo, I'm super elite, and it's like I'm really better than you, but I get it because you coming from some other angle because you think I can't rap.
Like they feel
you
like
know,
they're better than you.
Yeah, they think that because they can rap, they think for some reason I can't rap or they can rap better than me, and it's kind of like, okay, but the reason I'm not really rocking with you is because that's your position. And I agree that you're a great rapper and you can spit, but again, I'm not defining you based off craft and art. I'm defining you based on how you carry yourself as a person, right? So for me, it's a little different. So anyway, I guess that's.
Do you think that
answering it?
But also, to add on to that, I think the perception of you from the non-hardcore rap fan is very, very different because of some of the music you've made, whether it's been Cook Push or I mean, you've had a lot of music that has bridged into other parts of society. I mean, I can remember sitting at football games and listening to your music in a crowd of 90,000 people at a Penn State game. Show goes on, comes on, and people. They don't look at that necessarily, even though it is hip hop and rap music. It looks like a little bit more mainstream, I guess. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I think the perception of you is very different because you go into very different audiences than I think maybe Royce does. I see that as a little bit of a difference between the two of you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people don't really know too much about me from the jump. So it's like, that's kind of like a slippery slope where you can put on as many or go into many different worlds as you want. But it's just because that's why I've experienced the success. I didn't experience success in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to be a street rapper, right? I didn't experience success trying to be a lyrical rapper, right? I didn't experience success trying to be an elite rapper. Like I experienced success just telling basic human stories and having just, touching on personal experiences. Like I used to skate when I was 5. You know what I'm saying? Until I broke my skateboard in the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in the ghetto skating. Well, it was still prostitutes. It was still drugs and drug needles on the ground, and people pissing in the hallway, and gunshots and blood all in the hallways. So that was real, but I was just happened to be skating through that. So, I mean, even if you listen to the stories like Kick Push, Show Goes On, even if you listen to Superstar, those ain't fun records. They might have fun beats and fun choruses,
fun songs.
But if you listen to the lyrics of those songs aren't chill for a little fun at all. Especially not Superstar. Superstar's about dying and going to heaven and getting kicked out. You know what I'm saying? So there's a certain level of darkness that relates back to anime, right? And I think you can maybe speak to this, Tim, right? That there's people look at anime and it may seem like very happy-go-lucky, fun, right? But it's a lot of like dark narratives and like villains and demons and like all this other craziness going on. So can you kind of speak to that kind of dual identity of like it looks like this is for kids, but it's like this ain't for kids,
Yeah, a perfect example would be an anime right now that everybody is talking about. Every Sunday people go crazy talking about Attack on Titan. It's basically, and to put it on a broad perspective, these people were stuck inside these walls, and there's giant monsters outside of these walls, and if they leave these walls, the monsters will kill them. Where we're at right now, it's gotten to a point where I look at the main character as like Malcolm X. Like when I talk about the anime, one of the things I constantly start screaming is, by any means necessary, because he's basically going down a dark route. Like he started off as like, happy-go-lucky, I guess to a certain degree. He witnessed a lot of horrible shit happen to him, and as the story has progressed, he went from an idealistic kid to he's willing to murder and do anything to liberate his people. And it's so, like, in the meat of it all, there's a lot of political aspects, there's a lot of just, I guess just deep narratives that, like, you wouldn't see from just looking at it as, oh, giant monsters and people fighting giant monsters.
I got 2 questions on that. So, Attack on Titan. So, is this something that you said it's coming out right now? Is it come out like on a regular interval? Like what?
They usually do it seasonally. Right now, there's 3 seasons. We're on season 4, and some anime are different. Like anime or like Attack on Titan, for example, it had 25 episodes. Then it took like 4 years to drop 12 more. Then I think another year or 2 later, they dropped like 24 more. So it just really depends on the demand, and a lot of times them trying to profit as much as they can in between seasons and stuff like that.
And then my second question is, I got to ask this. I was a huge fan of this show, and I now I'm curious if it actually is anime. The Walking Dead. No,
American comic that was adapted into a live action TV show.
So nothing to do with the roots of that. Because when you talk about that, it kind of reminds me of the original version of that.
Yeah,
but no, not at all.
You say that, it's funny enough. I remember when The Walking Dead was really blowing up. Attack on Titan around that time started blowing up. And I remember a lot of people, including myself, used to make comparisons saying Attack on Titan is Japan's, I guess, take, you would say, on something like The Walking Dead and, the political structures and, these power classes and things like that. So I could see where you would get that, like, comparison there.
So not a totally stupid question.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's the same process in Japan, though. So, where it might be a really popular comic book or a weekly, like Shonen Jump, right? Like just a weekly manga release in a magazine. And then if it gets super popular, they might do an adaptation of that into a anime series. So that's kind of like the same kind of process, though, Tom, like where you have some like super successful or super interesting in the comic book space, and then you want to move it into something else. Whereas here in America, the obvious thing is to kind of move it into live action, right?
Yeah.
But in Japan, it's more like, okay, let's turn this comic book into a cartoon, right? And then even still from that, you might get, because it's basically just a license, right? So like you might somebody that want to license the movie, so you get a live action movie, and then you'll get like toys, because somebody want to license and spin off and make the toys. So the processes are similar. It's just that the where it might go to might be different, you know. And then also you have these like mangas that are just these weekly releases, right? Where they drop them every week, but then they'll do like maybe like a particular book of like a spin-off story or something like that, right? Where they'll take and just do like a whole, like, okay, we're gonna do an 80-page or 100-page book just for this same characters but going down this different storyline or something like that. So I mean, that's why you can get like Tim is saying, you can get like super duper deep. You know, one book might have, you know, 150 books, and then it has this anime spin-off and then toys and da. So it get crazy.
What's the most successful, and I'll define successful as going from comic maybe to cartoon to maybe even live action movie? What's the most successful manga that started in that ever?
Well, right now there's a series called One Piece that I think it's either third or second behind Superman and Batman for highest sold comic of all time. It's like I think they just announced 480 million copies, and I want to say Superman is at 600 million and Batman is somewhere in like 400 or 500. I forget if it passed Batman yet, but there's a series One Piece. It's been going on since, I think the manga started, if I'm not mistaken, in 97, and the anime started in 99, because the anime is basically, even if they like make it, you know, beautiful piece of art, essentially it's used as a glorified commercial to, you know, push the product. Like Lupe was saying, one of the things, because society in Japan is like very different. Like manga over there is a very normal thing. Like, you know, comics and cartoons over there is a normal thing to their society. Not so much maybe the anime, is more so like the manga volumes, because it's like $2. They're little tiny books, and you know, you could just shove them anywhere over there. It's not like that it's all open, where over here the manga, the books are a lot bigger and things like that. And also just the way they accept things. Like over here, it's more acceptable when people look more, even with anime's rise, people still prefer like a live action is going to really take things to the next level, like a successful live action series like a Game of Thrones or something like that, opposed to like an anime. It's still going to blow, but in its sphere, while a live action, everybody in, you know, the US will indulge in it, so to speak. But in Japan, an anime is kind of the equivalent to a live action over here.
That's good stuff. This is Tim Hoffman from ForneverWorld on YouTube. I love your passion. I love the consistency. You keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for joining the show. We greatly appreciate you.
No,
appreciate
thank you
you
for having me on. You know, being
You
able
on Twitch? You on Twitch, Tim?
No, I don't really do Twitch too much. I'm mainly just
YouTube?
Yeah.
Yo, Tim, what's your favorite manga? What's your favorite anime? And then what's your favorite toy? And then who's your favorite character? All four of them. Real quick.
Favorite anime, Yu Yu Hakusho. Favorite manga, probably Berserk.
Ooh, you a dark person.
What was the other two? The figure.
Favorite toy?
It'd probably be
Or figure, yeah.
I don't know. I have a few back there that I don't know. Probably one of my One Piece statues that I have like, because I used to have a deal where they would send me like these One Piece statues, probably like Whitebeard. And what was the fourth one?
Last one. Who's your favorite character? Favorite character from that universe?
Favorite character. I'd probably go with Guts from Berserk, because
wow,
he's been through a living nightmare and he's still pushing every day. You know, he went through so much that he's like, I don't even know, 30, and his hair just started immediately turning gray from everything he's seen and shit. So yeah.
Can you see the grayness in my hair? Is it showing up, or is it being like?
No, you good.
Wow, appreciate you, Tim. Thank you, brother.
No, thank you.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you, Tim.
You guys have a wonderful
Pleasure
night.
to meet you, bro.
Pleasure as well.
Again, that's Tim Hoffman from ForneverWorld on YouTube. That was some interesting stuff. Little education there for you, Royce. And
He
me.
was serious.
Yeah.
He was serious.
Now y'all are anime and manga experts.
I'm kind of curious to dive in. What was the one that he said was about to outseat Superman and Batman?
One Piece.
One Piece.
It's
I'm
about
curious
pirates.
Pirates.
Yeah, it's about pirates.
You know, I have a fear of pirates when we go on that cruise ship.
You got a fear of pirates?
You
got a fear of
do.
pirates?
I do. I don't like
Pirate
pirates.
phobia?
I have a pirate phobia.
You're listening to the Lupe and Royce show with Lupe Fiasco, Royce the 5'9", and Tom Frank.
Royce, did you set any intentions for 2021? Any goals you want to accomplish this year?
You know what, Lupe Fiasco? I was just thinking about